We got all of our plants, have all our construction products, ready to start construction. Stay tuned. Just picked up the plants. They are out in my truck. I'm gonna start shuffling all of them in here. I'm gonna go grab Trevor as well, because what we're thinking is that tank's gonna go right here, centered underneath this beautiful canopy that we have. But some of the plants that we have are gonna be really, really big. So we're gonna put in some big stumps. We're gonna have some big vegetation coming out. I have a small fig tree that we're gonna be put in here, peace lily, crotons, really cool philodendrons, and then working on some plants that are gonna go underwater. So we're not trying to replicate any specific biotope. Remember, these turtles, Midland painted turtles, native to the Midwest. The look that we're going for here is just a tropical jungle type of a look. Really good water quality, big chunks of rock, stumps, vegetation, lots of cool depths and things like that for these little turtles to really just explode in growth so we could release them back into nature. All right, the base is being positioned. Goal, right where Jack's pointing, got lights up here. Those are gonna be removed. We're gonna have grow lights going in place, but now we have the massive tank that's going inside of that. All right, now for the hard part. All right, much safer. So what we are doing is we're gonna take this entire tank outside through the parking lot up to the front doors, which is going to give us a lot less stuff to kind of jog around. And the concern is because this is a rimless tank, there is no upper structure on top of this. So if we stand it on edge, the weight of it is going to put pressure on these joints. It's in! All right, so we are gonna dry fit everything. Brian's holding the first contraption.
Yep. It's just like building a pond.
All right, so Trevor's feeding. The white pipe is the overflow, which is gonna attach to that tower, and then we have like a little skimmer, and then the vinyl tubes are gonna connect up to our pumps, and these are gonna be little jets over here on the output. This is our media that goes in those little trays, and then it gets positioned right under the overflow. The way this is set up is we have overflow from these towers through the white tube is going to get connected to here, so this will pre-filter out all the gunk. Now remember, this is really important because when you're talking about biological filtration, it's that organic solids. When that stuff gums up your biomedia, it doesn't work as effectively. Your nitrifying bacteria actually get crowded out by different types of bacteria, so they need really clean, hard surfaces for true nitrification. So that's why we want to have a good pre-filter. Same thing that we're doing with our skimmers and things like that. You want to protect your biofilter as much as possible. So the more organic detritus and things like that you can pull out, the more effective your biofiltration will actually become. So we are using 2,000 to 4,000 adjustable pump, and then you have this manifold. We're going to split it into 4 discharge points. So that's going to go down here inside the sump, and then those discharge points are these little guys right over in here. It's going to shoot the water around. We could twist and turn those to any position that we want. Remember earlier we showed these are our overflows. These are going to connect directly into those sumps over there, and there's a bag that hangs on the inside, and that's going to act as the pre-filter. Tubing's going on, a little bit of tight quarters here for Trevor, but he's got a heat gun out also just to kind of heat that tubing up, and that helps us push it on. Kind of an add-on thing, some bags of biochar activated carbon. I'm going to add those into this sump over here. So the water's going to kind of pour through these bags. It's going to get pre-filtered out, and then it's going to come in contact with all that biochar activated carbon that's going to sit inside of here, and then it's going to overflow back over into that area where Trevor's at, where the pump is going to be located, and then it's going to get discharged back out the little jets. Okay, so we had these two pieces of existing driftwood. Trevor, what are your thoughts with this stuff?
Trying to make some layers here, make some planting pockets. We got to work around that big filter system that's going to be in the center. So creating the island, grade changes and stuff like that. Having one big piece is going to, prove pretty difficult. So we cut it in half and we're going to make it work for us rather than work against it. So
it's actually a great looking piece, right? I mean,
yeah, it looks awesome.
And our main viewing area, you were saying basically from this side here, everybody's kind of coming in towards the tank, I guess.
Most of the focus should be on probably these 3 panels.
Well, let's hop up inside, either you or me in the bottom and one on top, and we'll start piecing it together.
Let's get to it.
And now it's time for the artistry. As we got monstrous pieces of driftwood, which look awesome, but we're trying to arrange them in the proper orientation. But the challenge that we have is all the different planting pockets as well as the functional components. So we have these little skimmer setups in here, so we have to have a clear channel of water going to those, and then we need to create some land areas where we could bring in all the different vegetation to really fill this entire space up. All right, we got the pond guy out himself. What do you got, Greg? First rock?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's the heavy rocks. Let's get Greg to come out. Smart, actually. Be careful. Ooh, that's scary.
I know.
Yeah, there goes 20,000 bucks.
Exactly.
I was not expecting this with this height, and now I love it. It was envisioning the turtles just having a great place to swim.
Sure.
All the way around, and I pictured kind of a floating island.
We're going to have still some floating island action in there.
Okay, you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. No, I think this is going to be the coolest tank here. I think kids are going to, adults, they're going to love to see everyone loves the baby turtles. So I think this is a perfect project, and I was just telling Trevor, I can't believe he gets paid to do this cool stuff. I wish I got to do this all day too, like you guys.
So things are progressing, starting to take shape with everything. You can see this little green line here. Put the laser level on, which is this unit right here. So what that's going to do is that's showing us our approximate water level. We know where our aquatic plants are going to go, where the terrestrial, and where that transitional zone is going to be. So remember, the whole name of this thing is a paludarium, so it's kind of that marshy, wet zone. So we have some submerged stuff, but then it's going to transition itself up and out. So now what we're doing is layering in these beautiful aqua blue boulders, one of my favorite stones to work with. A little bit of a challenge though, because of the tight constraints. We did place some of our flow cells, the drainage panels down here in the bottom. This is creating that little bit of a cushion, creates a hollow space underneath everything, but now we don't have the rock directly on the glass itself. This is also going to create a sedimentation zone, so any debris and stuff like that's going to sink down a little bit deeper for periodic maintenance. Power cutter over here. I'm going to cut some of this fabric, and we're going to start layering and covering up those AquaBlox. So because we put these in here, so this is just creating void space. So we'll be full of water, and we don't want turtles getting back in there, so we're going to cover everything up. It's eliminating some of the rock and some of the boulders and gravel work. So this is creating a little bit of mounding action for us. So it allows us to create that that three-dimensional look, which I think is really key for all of this. So this is really starting to come together again as you start doing the layers. Large river rock and small river rock, it really starts to lock everything in place. Now what we're doing is we're going to start layering in some of the plants. We are going to do bare root, or at least knock off the majority of the soil, similar to what we do on ponds. Some of the plants are epiphytes, so they literally have no root structure. These things are just going to get glued directly to the wood structures. We have baby steers. Again, we're taking a lot of the soil off of those. Dustin's fish tanks came through again for us. We got different types of hair grass. We got hygrophila, rotala, bulbitis, nubius, red tiger lotus. Here is our little aquatic planter. It's made out of a permeable material, so it's going to allow water to go through, but it's going to keep the sediments out. It's actually stitched and everything. It's got a flat bottom to it. This is our pond planting medium. So again, this is stuff normally used in ponds, but it'll work fine inside of this system. This is a 12 by 8. And then we got these really cool philodendrons. So this is a Florida beauty right there. I don't mind if the turtles are going to be rooting around, but I want to kind of minimize it as much as possible. And this is going to be a work in progress. And what I mean by that is we don't know how they're going to interact with this. We're trying to make a really unique paludarium, but we're going to add 100 baby turtles to it. So they are used to burrowing. They're going to feed on plant material as well as animal material. So we are getting down to the details. Now we're going all the way down to sand, as well as more of the aquatic plants, and you know it's getting time to finish stuff up because James is splicing.
Don't do what I'm doing.
Color changing lights.
The smallest gauge wires possible.
Rinsing everything down, and the next step is going to be aquatic plants. So we have to wash everything first. We don't want to put the plants in because we'll probably just beat them all up. Exactly like we would do in a pond. Get rid of all the dust, debris, and all that stuff that we've been working with. But everything's really looking good. It will be an interesting experiment to have this type of a tank with this much detail and plant material. We are down to the final stage.
We're gonna start to place the plants where we want to plant them. Just start plucking them in.
So it's all of our stuff from Dustin's fish tank. We've been foaming all little nooks and crannies and joints, making sure that turtles can't get wedged in little places, because remember, these guys are tiny. If it was big turtles, I would not be as careful because they wouldn't be able to get into some of these places, but the small turtles are going to be able to walk in between all this stuff. So we have areas of heavy vegetation, we got rock, we got logs, we have little joints, and those joints we're filling with filter media, as well as our polyurethane foam, which is our waterfall foam, and it really fills all those joints. And then we're also disguising things using the foam with mosses and stuff like that. This is kind of a critical area. So those are the intake areas. So those are, it's like a pre-filter screen. So we left a little open channel going in there because we need water flow feeding all of those pumps. Otherwise, the water's not going to get down to the pumping system down on the bottom. So remember, this is going to go through those overflows, go through the filter bag, overflow into the sump, and work its way around. It's just an unbelievable selection here. We have way more plants than we need, but we also got extra stuff in case we have any die off or we need to replace things, because these turtles are probably going to be tearing stuff apart, feeding on some of the different stuff, which is fine, it's normal. So we just want to make sure that we have enough plant material in here where it could kind of offset that grazing behavior. So everything, once it's established, is going to be at a state of homeostasis, I guess would be the best word. So a balanced state where we have turtles in here, we're feeding them, the waste helps feed the plants, the turtles can graze on the plants, and everything works together symbiotically to deliver the desired results. Okay, the moment has arrived. Trevor is going to turn on our pumps. Let's do it.
All right.
Oh yeah, we got flow. Check this out. All right, the time has come. We are ready to release the baby turtles into the tank that Trevor and I completed. Look at those little guys, the baby midlands.
All right, are we ready to move these guys up?
We are getting ready.
I heard they were moving the turtles. I'm coming out from my office.
Yes.
I love my job. Look at this one. This one's eating a fish
Oh my
right
gosh.
now. Look at
Those
that.
are all those rosy reds that Bob
Yeah.
had.
Hey, that's nature.
fish.
That's nature working right there. There's two of them on it. All right, they're moving on up.
Jeez. All right, Trevor, we spent a lot of time building and putting this tank together. Now is the time for the release. Oh, first one's in. So the turtles are going exactly where we hoped they would. So we put in this big stump. The stump actually had some of these fingers, they had some of these little wood partitions coming off of it. We want to have areas where animals could go in, come out, and then we have all that lush vegetation underwater. This is mimicking their exact habitat.
So every year, plan on going out to Bob's in the fall.
Yep.
Head starting whatever amount of turtles that they can get, probably around May, just like you did with Kenan,
yes.
releasing these into the area forest preserves. Take a couple months off without any baby turtles in here, and then in the fall, put them in every single year, and this is just gonna be a great teacher for all of the kids. This whole business started with turtles, having friends like Bob, having great scapers like Trevor. Trevor, fantastic job. Having pond professors like Ed that knows how to take care of the ecology of this. This is living the aquascape lifestyle, turtle style on this episode. I love my job. Good job, Eddie.
Awesome, appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next project. We got some awesome stuff coming up.